$35,000 a year is one of the greediest things that anybody's ever asked me for. Now, when I put up a video with that type of title, and when I'm explaining it like this, you may think, what kind of cheap fucking prick is this that he thinks $35,000 is a lot of money? And everything is relative, and that's what I want you to keep in mind here while I'm trying to explain my point. So every now and then I'll talk to people who have these business ideas, they have these career change ideas, these things they want to do with their life, and sometimes they're friends, sometimes they're acquaintances, sometimes they're people that I barely know, and we'll talk about it. And, they'll ask about what I think, and I'll say, well, this could work, but you may need to learn this, that, or the other. You're going to have to go to these types of events. You're going to have to find somebody who knows how to do this, that, and the other so that you can figure out how they got into it. You're going to have to find a vendor. Then you're going to have to find this customer base. Then you're going to have to learn this, that, and the other so that you can deal properly with the vendors and the customer base. And they'll go, and they'll usually cut me off halfway through, and they'll go, I'm really just, I'm not greedy. I'm just looking to make $35,000 a year. And here's why I say that you are greedy, and here's why the video has that title. Because here's the thing. When I'm saying, here's what you need to do to be successful and good at your craft, and you cut me off to say, well, I only need to make this much money, here's what you're telling me. What you're telling me when you cut me off at that point is, no, you don't understand. I don't really want to be that good at it. I don't really want to know how to have good vendor relations. I don't really want to know how to provide a good service for my customers. I don't really want to become educated and to the point where I'm really good at what I do, where I'm knowledgeable in my field, where people look up to me. No. I just want to make just enough to get by. So do I really need to learn all that shit? Do I really need to do all that shit? Do I really need to stay up figuring out how to administer Active Directory? Do I really need to stay up learning what these car computer diagnostic codes do? Do I really need to buy a microscope? Can't I just get by with my eyes to solder on a cell phone? And the answer is no. No, you can't. The answer is that here's the thing. It's actually greedier for you to say that you want to make $35,000 a year sucking at what you do than it is for somebody else to say, I want to make millions of dollars a year being good at what I do. Because it's all about proportion. Here's the thing. I feel that if you're not really that good at what you do, if you're not good at what it is you do for a living, I don't think you should make $35,000 a year. I don't think you should make $10,000 a year. I don't think you should make $2,000 a year. What I think is that a bad job is inherently worthless. If you suck at what you do, if you're legitimately, honestly bad at what you do, you're worthless to me. You're absolutely, positively fucking worthless, and you should not earn a dime. And if you're good at what you do, I would say that the possibilities for income are boundless. They're endless. You can make as much money as you want if you put your mind to it, and if you're doing it with the idea of not just, I just kind of want to scrape by, I just want a way to pay my apartment rent, and for my TV, and for my food, and for my bus ride home, but I don't want to actually put in the work to be good at anything to do that. See, that's actually worse than saying, well, my goal is to become really amazing at something and then make, a few $1,000s an hour off of it. That's actually less, believe it or not, the second person is actually less greedy than the first person because it's all about proportion. It's really easy to suck at something. Anybody can suck at something. I can read a cookbook one time and say, oh, I'm a chef. I want to make $35,000 a year. My food is going to be fucking awful compared to somebody who puts a lot of time in to be good at it. But that person who put a lot of time to be good at it, again, do you think that he really only deserves to make $20,000 more than somebody who just picked up a book, read something for the first time, and said, I want to be a chef? No, not really. They deserve a lot more than that. And that's why I don't really feel guilty when we're talking about certain things like certain motherboard repairs where I made $400 for 90 seconds of my time. Because I put in a lot of effort and a lot of time to become good enough at what it is I do so that I could actually figure that out inside of, 90 seconds. There are a lot of people who put in time and effort to be good at something before they're making a lot of money at it. Jim Camp has a really good book. I forget the name of it right now, but it was Jim Camp is the author. And one of the things he said in this book that I really agree with, and it's cool because it's cool when millionaires agree with you. It kind of like reasserts or reinforces that what you think kind of makes sense. He said, you have to have a proper goal. You have to have a goal that makes sense. So a senseless goal is I want to make $35,000. A senseless goal is I want to make $1 million. A sensible goal is I want to become the best at exporting Amtech flux to other, to South America. That's what I want. I want to be the best at exporting Amtech flux to South America, because that's a goal. That's something you can actually shoot for. And then once you're good, the money will come after it. You'll get paid once you're good at it. Or a saying that my dad always had, which I really agree with. He said, first you be the best, then you be the first. So the whole idea is you shouldn't focus on just getting to the top of the list. You shouldn't focus on being at the top of Google. You shouldn't focus on having the most money. You should focus on being the best at whatever it is you're doing. Because once you're the best, then you'll be the first. Then you'll have more money. Then you'll have a better Google ranking and blah, blah, blah. And this is really held true for a lot of the things that I do with my life. When I was interning at Avatar Studios and Progressive Music at the same time, I was making probably, I was making like $7 an hour at one job, and then $0 an hour at the other job, and sometimes it was even lower. Sometimes I was sometimes at the end of the day, I would count the amount. I would count that I took home $30 or $40, but between the two places, I'm not kidding. I probably spent like I would say a good 17 or 18 hours working, and it wasn't about the money, because I assure you, if I was looking at it like, if I'm good at this, can I make $35,000 at it, or can I do, can I read a book for a week, or can I just watch a YouTube video, or take a 3-month class and then make $35,000? I would have quit long time ago. My goal was to be the best. So to be the best, that meant that I had to work with the best. I had to learn from the best. I had to work in a best type environment. I didn't want to be somebody who's fucking soldering headphone jacks on, for the rest of my life. I wanted to be the person who could replace any VRP switch in 20 or 30 minutes without having to resort to putting a toothpick in it because he fucked it up 3 times in a row. I wanted to be the person who could figure out what's wrong with the motherboard over the internet with limited information and be able to say, your problem is with this. This was caused by that, and that was caused by this chip, which you have to replace. It's cool to be good at things. And the thing is, when you're good at something, you'll make money at it. And, just going into anything with this idea of, can I make $35,000 a year at that? You're gonna fucking fail, because that's an invalid goal. A valid goal, a valid thing to strive for is to be good at something. A valid goal is saying, I want to produce good YouTube content that people are willing to watch. I want to be one of the best in the field at repairing this type of circuit board. I want to be the best there is at replacing this stupid little switch that goes bad on all these. Whatever it is you want to do, focus on being the best at it. And once you're the best at it, here's the thing. You can make millions upon millions of dollars, and nobody out there will be able to call you greedy. A lot of people may say that you're greedy, but they're going to be wrong. The reason that you're not greedy is because you put in the time, you put in the effort, and you put in the sacrifice when nobody else is willing to try to be the best at something. And once you become the best at something, no matter how much money you make, I'm not going to say that it's never enough, but what I'm going to say is that you earned every cent of it and then some, because you put in the time and the effort that other people weren't willing to. And, this is something that I see with stuff like YouTube. Again, if I had started doing YouTube videos with the idea of, can I make $35,000 a year from this? I mean, are you kidding me? I was making YouTube content for a little bit 2012, all of 2013, and then all of 2014. And a lot of the really good content in terms of board repairs started coming out in 2014. The first month that I monetized this, after being on YouTube for 2.5 fucking years, the first month that I monetized, I got something like $53? I mean, that's 53 times 12 is not $35,000. So if I was doing that with the goal in mind of, can I make $35,000 off of this? No. That would have failed. If I was doing it just for the money, but instead I was doing it with the idea of, I would like to be one of the best in this small niche market of, I want to create content on how to repair these circuit boards, how to do the repair of these circuit boards economically and practically, and I want to do it in an entertaining fashion where I talk about all the issues and all the bullshit that everybody else says you can't talk about because that makes you unprofessional. I thought I wanted to be the best in that little niche field. And here's the thing. I put in, I buy a $2,300 camcorder. I buy a $1,000 microscope and microscope camera because the microscope and microscope camera at the time did not allow that. I spend, $1,500 on a computer to edit video because my laptop that I had upgraded and spent maybe $200 upgrading was not really doing the job right. I spend $900 on capture hardware. I spend money on a microphone, which ironically broke, so I'm back to using this piece of shit. But I did spend at the time. I spend money and time on things like like noise reduction plugins. I actually paid for Isotope RX4 and then for the upgrade to RX5. You may notice that when I have this on and the air filter on and all this other shit on, that while this stuff does indeed make noise, that you often don't hear it, and it's because I put time and effort into that. You know, a funny thing, and I don't mean this as an insult, but I was talking to Jessa the other day about some complaints she got on noise in her videos. And I said, you know, you could use this, that, and the other to do it, and I can show you how. And she goes, well, it makes the video renderer a lot longer. And to me, it's worth it to do that because I know that it's going to offer you, the viewer, a better experience. To me, it's worth it to do that because I remember my frustration with a lot of these videos. A big frustration that I had was I'm sitting here listening to this and I can barely hear. I have to rewind over and over to hear one word you said because there's just a vacuum in the background of noise. So I said, I don't want to do that to my viewer. And, you know, you bet your ass, the return on investment on that stuff is like this. But I can't look at it in terms of, am I going to get closer to $35,000 a year because I focus on making the videos have a little less noise in them. But what it does do is it brings my content a little bit closer to being the best. As silly as it is, it does. And, you know, and that was worth it to me. So, you know, then it went up to from $50 to $150 to $350 to blah, blah, blah. And now it's probably making over $1,000 a month. And here's the thing. Someday I may log into my YouTube account and see that I'm making $4,000 a month off it, or $8,000 a month off it, or $12,000 a month off it, or $16,000 a month off of it. And I'm not going to feel the least bit greedy, nor am I going to feel the least bit guilty because, you know, how many people are going to sit here and spend $6,000 or $7,000 of money that they probably should be spending on employees or rent or getting their basement fixed so that the stairs don't fucking crumble when you walk down? You know, how many people are going to spend that money in more sensible ways than just diving into a YouTube channel? How many people are going to sit up editing video at 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 in the morning when they could be sleeping? How many people are going to take a cab home because the train is no longer available because they stayed an extra hour to do a board repair video, you know? So I try not to talk about exact figures too much, but I got this one message recently that was really, really fucking mean over the fact that I had mentioned in one video that 1 month I managed to hit $1,000 off of just YouTube ad revenue. So not sales of Flux, not the class, not the tutoring in the store, not other motherboard repairs gained from YouTube. Just YouTube ad revenue alone had gotten in the area of around $1,000 for a month. And, you know, I don't feel the least bit bad about that, and I don't feel bad about the fact that I don't feel bad about that. And, you know, here's why. I was doing this stuff with the idea that I am going to be the best at it. And as a result of it, money comes, you know, I get paid for it. But if you go into something with that idea that, can I just make $35,000 a year for doing the bottom of the barrel, least minimum required, don't even fucking bother. Because, again, doing a shitty job, doing a half-ass job that's not worth $35,000, which in New York City, by the way, is damn near close to poverty line. It's not worth $15,000. It's not worth $5,000. It's worth $0. Doing a half-ass bullshit job is worth jack shit in the real world. You know, I'm trying to remember the person who said this out loud. It was either Sam Fields or Roy Hendrickson. And we were talking about music and talking about discounted studio time. I'm sure it was Sam Fields. And he looks at me and he goes, with this Texas accent, he goes, Lois, nah, you know what a bad recording is worth? And I go, what? And he goes, $0. And, you know, he really beat this into me at the time because I was doing this bullshit of recording. I was recording really bad music for $15 an hour on this side to try to make money when I was 17 years old. And he just beat this through my head because there were these things where I said, well, this may work, but it's only this much money. And like, Lois, you know how much a bad recording is worth? $0. He was missing all of his teeth. He was in his 80s, and he was from Texas. So that's kind of the combination of Texas accent, missing all your teeth, and being over 80 years old. But, you know, it really drove home that point that being good at something makes you worth an infinite amount of money. Being bad at it means not much. So to me, you know, again, if I log into YouTube one day and I see that YouTube's paying me $12,000 or $16,000 a month, I'm not going to feel bad about it because I put in the time and the effort when no sane fucking person would put in that time, that effort, or that money to create something that's worthwhile, that people are willing to watch and look at when it didn't make sense. I mean, you have to see that everybody at the store has access to my company eBay account. So when they log in and they see that I've spent like $3,000 or $4,000 or $6,000 on recording equipment, their jaws hit the fucking floor. Like, are you seriously? What the? Like, again, you know how many looks I got from people that I know saying like, there are people in China that do this stuff for $60 to $80. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, not even filming it, not even doing filming of it and editing it and doing all this other crap. Just the sheer fact that you're even considering doing this shit when there are people in China that for $60 to $80 fucking dollars will do it for you. I mean, you know. So again, if it winds up profiting, if it winds up doing well, do you think I'm going to feel the least bit bad? You know, when people call me greedy, when they say you shouldn't, be making the money that you are, I don't feel the least bit bad, because I tried to become the best at what I do, which is more than I can say for a lot of fucking people that I meet that are looking to do the bare minimum. They want to learn the bare minimum. They want to, invest the bare minimum to just scrape by. And to me, that's a lot more greedy than saying, I'm going to be the best at something, but once I'm the best at that, I want to see $1 million. Once I'm the best at it, I want to see six-figure paychecks. Once I'm the best at it, I want to have a nice car and a beautiful apartment and nice speakers and be able to take nice vacations. Because, you know what? When you put effort in, you're worth something. But when you don't put effort in, well, do you think I care that you're not making a lot? Do you think I care that you're not doing as well as you want? No. Don't do the bare minimum. Whatever it is you're doing in life, try to become the best at it. Figure out what education you need, what tools you need, what time you're going to have to put in. What is it that you're going to have to do to eliminate all the excuses so that you can, even if you fail, so that you can try to become the best at whatever it is you're trying to do. And then actually go ahead and try to be the best. Because as my dad says, first, you'll be best. Then you'll be first.